On today's show,
we're headed out to the Rachel Carson Reserve.
So, ready to make a difference?
Building a better planet starts with you.
Aqua Kids, traveling around the world, going where we've never been before, having fun and so much more, learning from our friends of the sea, saving them is up to you and me. Aqua Kids.
Hey everyone at home, and welcome to another great episode of Aqua Kids. I'm Drew.
And I'm Katie. Today we're headed out to the very beautiful Rachel Carson Reserve in Beaufort, North Carolina.
Made up of a series of islands, the reserve has been set aside for research, stewardship, and education.
Well, there are so many cool plants and animals living there. Let's head over and take a look.
Let's go.
We're here at the Rachel Carson Reserve in Beaufort, North Carolina.
This place is set aside for education, stewardship, and research.
That's right, Danielle. Let's go meet up with Clark and Drew, who are learning more about it right now.
Let's go.
Hi guys, welcome to the Rachel Carson Reserve.
Thank you.
My name is Lori, I'm glad you're here today. The Rachel Carson Reserve is a complex of islands that have been set aside for research, stewardship, and education. And as you can see on this map, it's a really big area composed of many different types of habitats, including salt marsh, maritime forests, mud flats, and ocean beaches.
Lori, tell us about Rachel Carson, because she was really influential in the environmental movement.
Yes, she was. And Rachel Carson actually performed some work at a nearby lab here near Beaufort, North Carolina.
Really? That's amazing.
Yes, and we were told that she would canoe or kayak over here to Town Marsh, the island we're on right now, and she wrote a famous book called The Edge of the Sea right here. And she talked about how cool the town of Beaufort was, how she liked to look at the fiddler crabs, and so when the state of North Carolina acquired this property, they named it in her honor.
That's amazing. And she also did so much work in researching the effect of pesticides on some animals, like her famous book, Silent Spring.
Exactly, you're exactly right. And so when we see pelicans today, we should thank Rachel Carson, because if we kept using DDT, we would not have pelicans and eagles and those sort of things.
So what kind of animals do you expect to see here?
Well, hopefully today, Drew, we're going to see some fiddler crabs, mud snails, periwinkle snails, maybe some worms. But here on the reserve, there are hundreds of different species of animals.
Well, Lori, I see that you have wild horses on the sign. Does that mean that there are wild horses living here as well?
You're right, Katie. We do have a population of feral horses living on the Rachel Carson Reserve.
Cool.
These horses were placed here in the 1940s by a local man in Beaufort, and at that time it was practice for the locals to bring their animals over here to graze. And so when the gentleman brought them over here, he ended up passing away, and so they became feral. Do you know what the word feral means?
Right, they don't technically have a home.
Right, that's right. They were domesticated or owned by someone, but now they're wild.
So tell us what we're going to be doing today.
All right, Drew, I thought we would take a walk into the marsh and talk about the plants and animals that we see there. Again, I hope we see some mud snails, periwinkle snails, fiddler crabs, and talk about some different plant species.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Don't go away.
When Aqua Kids returns, we get a chance to explore the marsh.
Aqua Kids presents another Aqua Kids Pop Quiz. Ahoy there! Ready for a pop quiz that'll shiver your timbers? Which animal may have contributed to legends of sea monsters? Is it A, the oarfish, B, the giant squid, or C, the basking shark? Sail back after these messages and I'll give you the answer. We're back with the answer to today's Aqua Kids Pop Quiz. So, have you guessed which animal may have given rise to tales of mythic sea beasts? Well, this was a bit of a trick question, since many believe that sightings and remains of oarfish, giant squid, and basking sharks may have all fed rumors of monsters from the deep.
Welcome back to Aqua Kids.
We're headed into the marsh at the Rachel Carson Reserve to discover some of the cool plants and animals living there.
All right.
All right, guys, let's walk down here to the water's edge. We're at low tide right now, which will, of course, show us more animals on the beach. And after we explore here on the water's edge a little bit, we'll walk into the salt marsh.
How high does the tide go?
Oh, it goes pretty far, probably about 4 feet. Yeah, right up to the grass it will go.
Oh, look, okay, I see some footprints already.
Hey guys, let's check this out right here. Do you guys see this tube sticking out of the sand?
Oh, yeah.
And there's a hole at the top, and it has pieces of seaweed and shell on the tube.
Right.
This is called a plumed worm tube. So there's a worm called a plumed worm, and he's living about 6 inches underneath the sand here.
Oh, wow.
And the tube is continuous all the way through the sand. And the top part here, he's built using pieces of seaweed and shell and sand, and he's got a secretion that's like a glue that keeps it all together. And this is his camouflage. This
like
is
a
how
nest.
he stays. Yeah, it's like a nest. So this is how he stays camouflaged and how things can't find him. So it's usually laying down like this in the sand. And people walk right by and don't know something cool is living there.
Right.
So what he does is when the water is over top of him at high tide, he comes out and he has like feathery fingers, is like what I like to say, like plumes. And they come out, and that's what attracts the plankton, and that's what he eats.
Oh, wow.
And when he's done eating, he just pulls back in and goes to the bottom of his tube.
That's so genius.
All right, guys, let's go find some more stuff.
All right, what are we looking for?
I think we should find some mud snails up here. All right, guys, so up here we should see hundreds of little snails called mud snails. And they're in black shells. And when we get to them, I'm gonna show you a really cool thing we can do to get them to come out of their shells. Hey guys, look at these thousands of snails right here on the water's edge.
Why are there so many of them right here? Why not over there?
Well, they like living in this habitat. This is nice, soft, squishy mud, and this is where they prefer to live. These are called mud snails. And if you guys want to pick one up, I'll show you a real cool way to get them to come out of their shells. So what you need to do is put the mud snail in the palm of your hand. Put your hand up to your chin and start humming. The vibrations of our hum should make the snail start coming out of its shell.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Wow.
Wow, cool. Oh, he's almost all the way out.
Oh,
Wow,
wow.
look at that.
Sometimes they'll even flip themselves over and start walking on your hand.
Oh.
Now I imagine these snails are a really good food source for birds and other species on the island.
They are, Clark. Birds love to feed on mud snails.
So other than a food source, what is the snail's purpose in the ecosystem?
Well, these snails are really cool because they like to feed on bacteria. So sometimes they're called the trash men of the estuary, because if there is a dead crab or a dead fish on the island, they're usually the first ones to find it because they want to eat that bacteria.
And they're everywhere, so.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's definitely thousands on the island here. All right, guys, let's walk up here on the sand. I want to show you some really cool homes up here.
Okay.
So do you see all these holes in the sand?
Yeah.
These are called fiddler crab holes. And fiddler crabs are a crab that live here on the Rachel Carson Reserve. And if you notice, there's 2 types of holes here in the sand. Do you notice this one right here that looks like it goes straight up and down? This is a fiddler crab home. Now they don't have individual homes like we do. They can find any empty hole and they can go in, and that's where they hang out for the day.
Cool.
Do you notice these right here? They're at an angle.
Yeah.
Those are called nuptial chambers. So once the male finds a female, that's where they go to mate.
Oh.
Oh, Drew, look, there's one behind you. Go grab it. You got it?
Yep. Oh, he's got a huge claw.
Oh, awesome, Drew. All right, Drew, that's awesome. You actually have a male fiddler crab there. And I know it's a male because he has 1 big claw and 1 little claw. If it was a female, it would have 2 little claws.
Wow.
Now the purpose of that big claw is to attract a mate. So when he's ready to mate, he'll actually wave that claw in the air and attract a female, and that's when they go down into the nuptial chambers.
Does he use it for protection?
Sometimes he'll use it for protection, but the main reason is to attract a female for mating.
I never knew you could hum to a snail to get it to come out of its shell.
That was awesome, Drew. Stay tuned. When Aqua Kids comes back, we continue our adventure on the Rachel Carson Reserve.
Aqua Kids salutes Aqua Heroes, people working hard to keep the planet green and blue. For the past 34 years, Robert Bondi has been using his vast knowledge and skills to protect the gentle giants of Florida, the peaceful manatee. Dr. Bondi is a research biologist for the U.S. Geological Survey. Currently, he monitors the life history of manatees in Crystal River, Florida. He specializes in a method of manatee tracking called radiotelemetry. By using special transmitting tags, he monitors the population of endangered manatees. In addition to working with these incredible creatures, Robert Bondi has written more than 70 captivating publications. He has also served on many University of Florida PhD graduate degree committees and over the years has helped save dozens of injured manatees.
Let's head back into the marsh.
Let's take a look for some periwinkle snails here in the grass.
Is that one right there?
That's right, we have one right here. So this is a periwinkle snail, and you notice how it's climbing up the blade of grass?
Slowly.
So what it's doing is a periwinkle snail eats bits of algae that are found on this grass. Cool. And also it's getting out of the water, so in a couple hours it's going to be high tide and the water is going to be ankle deep right here. Oh, wow. So the periwinkle snail is coming to the top of the blade of grass so it won't drown in the water.
Wow.
Oh.
All right guys, let's check out this grass over here that's found on the Rachel Carson Reserve. Now this grass right here is found in North Carolina estuaries. It's called salt marsh cordgrass and the scientific name is Spartina alterniflora. Now this grass is able to survive in estuaries which has brackish water, and brackish water, as you might know, is a mixture of fresh and salt water.
Right.
And normally we give our plants fresh water to live, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, this grass is really cool. So what it does is it takes the brackish water into its roots, filters out the salt, and just keeps the fresh water into its roots. Now you might say, well, what does it do with the salt? Exactly. Well, at the bottom of each blade of grass is a hole or a pore where the plant sweats out or secretes the salt crystal.
So is the water extra salty here because of the secretion?
No, Drew, that's a great question, but actually the salinity of the water is the same. Wow. Even though they're sweating out the salt crystals. They tend to stay on the blades of grass.
Right, I guess it evens out.
Yes. You guys ready for a snack?
Yeah, what'd you bring?
What? All right, let's check this plant out over here.
Oh.
Do you guys see this plant right here? It's tall and it's green and it's segmented.
Yeah.
Get you a piece.
Just right here?
Just eat it?
We're gonna eat it.
Chips, but
Come on, Katie.
All right.
it's clean, right?
It's clean.
Okay.
All right, this is called pickleweed or glasswort. Some people say it tastes like a pickle. I just think it's salty.
Bit, maybe.
It does taste like.
What do you guys think?
A little salty. Is it good? Do you like it?
It's salty.
Very salty.
I don't like pickles.
Do you like it?
It just tastes like I'm eating a handful of salt.
Well, remember, we do have brackish water here. I think it'd be great to put on a salad or something, don't you? Yeah.
No, not much.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed your time here on the Rachel Carson Reserve today.
Definitely. There's so many little creatures here that I would have missed. And we got a nice little snack.
That's right.
And so many plant life that we would have missed and benefit all the animals in the marsh.
That's right.
I sure did have a great time at the reserve, but now let's head over to Hampton Bay, Virginia.
What are we doing there?
Well, you'll find out after the break.
Okay.
Apex predators, the guardians of our ecosystem, are vanishing. The gray wolf, ancestor to our modern dog, is found scattered throughout North America, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Once numbering in the millions, its population has fallen below 250,000 worldwide. An intelligent pack hunter, the wolf has a complex social structure and strong family bonds similar to humans. Ancient humans learned to hunt by watching wolves. These carnivores keep herbivore species healthy by preying only on the weak and injured, preventing overpopulation and overgrazing. Habitat loss, conflicts with humans over livestock, and our fears are the greatest threats to this misunderstood creature. Find out ways you can help the gray wolf and other apex predators on our website.
Here's our top story, a tribute to Rachel Carson. On our visit to the Rachel Carson Reserve in North Carolina, many of us Aqua Kids became interested in the life of Rachel Carson. A marine biologist and conservationist, Rachel Carson conducted hundreds of studies regarding marine animals and plants. Around the time of World War II, Carson took a particular interest in studying the detrimental effects of pesticides on the environment. Carson learned how pelicans and many other marine species were being greatly affected by the use of DDT. After she had gathered enough information and observations, Carson wrote her famous book, Silent Spring, to detail what she had learned. Her book instantly became a hit, and luckily, policymakers acted on her findings. Because of this, Carson is most often credited with starting the modern environmental movement. So thank you, Rachel Carson, for being one of the most influential and inspiring people in our environment. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. I'm Katie with Aqua News, keeping you connected to our planet. Now back to Aqua Kids. Aqua Kids is back.
Let's head over to Virginia and learn about marine debris.
All right. Today we're here at the 31st Annual Hampton Bay Days Festival in Hampton Bay, Virginia.
We're going to get the chance to work with the Living Classroom Foundation aboard the half shell.
Well, we have lots of exciting activities ahead of us, so let's go get on board.
Let's go.
We're here now aboard the half shell with Rachel from the Rozalia Project, and joining us today are two very important Aqua Kids Club members, Andrew and Alex. So Rachel, what is the Rozalia Project and what do you do?
Rozalia Project's mission is to find and remove marine debris. We work from the surface to the seafloor through action, technology, outreach, and research.
Can humans be impacted by marine debris?
Yes, there are studies right now that show that marine-borne plastic attracts persistent organic pollutants. So these are chemicals that aren't good to be ingested, and they sit on top of a marine plastic. It's called adsorption. So it's not like lotion that absorbs and goes in your hand.
Yeah.
It sits right on top. But the problem with that is that these persistent organic pollutants can then transfer to the tissues of creatures that eat this trash.
That's really bad.
And if these creatures, such as fish, are part of the human food chain, then there's a chance that we are impacted.
So what kind of items are you guys finding?
Well, Rozalia Project, we keep track of everything we pick up. So we have a data card and we tick it off. Hopefully you'll help us.
Yeah.
So we know exactly what we find. And here's what's interesting. We are finding the same type of items on the shoreline, on the surface, and on the sea floor.
Wow.
And that is mostly plastic cups, beverage cans, glass bottles, food wrappers, and things like cigarette butts.
So once you have this information, what are you going to do with it?
We're using the data that we collect and that other people collect for us to learn what it's going to take to get our hands around this problem.
Get it right.
Right. We are optimistic that the problem of marine debris can be prevented and we can make a dent in it.
Yeah.
We believe every bit helps. The data is going to help us do things like make a beach cleanup more effective. Because if we know that a certain beach is more covered in trash after a southerly wind, then if our beach cleanup is on a Saturday after a southerly wind, we can make everybody go to that beach and
be more effective.
Exactly.
So what type of animals are trapped in this trash?
That's a good question. We have seen ourselves some birds that are sometimes trapped, but often making nests out of trash.
Oh, wow.
And we have picked up a glass bottle from the bottom of Narragansett Bay, and there is a crab that had grown up in this glass bottle.
Oh, and it couldn't get out.
It couldn't get out. So we wrapped a towel around it, and we very carefully broke the bottle and set the crab free and recycled the glass. This is Hector the Collector.
Such a cute name.
He's our ROV made by a company in Philadelphia called Video Ray, and it's a micro ROV. So it is meant to be small. It's state of the art, but it is small on purpose. So it can do things that larger ROVs can't do. Have you seen the Titanic and inside the rooms, the cabins of the ship? That imagery was obtained from a small ROV. One that was small enough to get in the rooms where the big sub couldn't get.
So is this a little camera right here?
That's exactly. The camera will show everything underwater from trash to creatures, and everything it sees, we see on a screen that we'll have set up here on the half shell. This right here, these are the light domes, these two. This is a sonar. The sonar is made by a company called Blue View in Seattle, and this lets us see with sound.
Oh, wow.
And it's amazing. We can see very far in the distance, much farther than our video camera can see.
Oh.
And it will show images as well as fish swimming by. This is our gripper claw. The claw we can turn and we can open and close it. And this is what we use to grab trash off the bottom.
We've run out of time for today's show, but you know, Katie, I really enjoyed our time at the Rachel Carson Reserve today.
Me too, Drew. It's great to see that there are pieces of land like the Rachel Carson Reserve that are set aside for preservation and for people to learn, explore, and enjoy.
That's right. Being immersed in such an unpolluted environment like that helps me to remember why it's so important that we protect our oceans and the surrounding areas.
Of course. Plus, stay tuned for future episodes if you are interested in learning more about the Rozalia Project. Their efforts in cleaning up marine debris help us to remember that everyone can do their part to keep our planet green and blue.
And so can you.
So visit our website to follow us on our journey.
And learn how you can come along with us.
And together, we can help keep the world
And the water.
a great place to play and explore.
And we'll see you next time on Aqua
Kids.
Kids.
Saving them is up to you and me. Aqua Kids.